How's it going, guys? Welcome back to a new video, and I finally got my hands on the all-new Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and man, I'm so excited about this phone. So let's not waste any time and let's do the unboxing real quick. You can see it's still wrapped up in that shrink wrap thingy, and I think this phone came out today itself, so I got it on the first day. So here are the specifications on the back of the box. So first off, we've got a 6.4-inch Quad HD Dynamic AMOLED display. Now Samsung has ditched the Super AMOLED branding for Dynamic AMOLED, and this display is also HDR10 Plus certified. And by the way, this particular model of the S10 Plus I've got runs the Exynos 9820 processor, which is paired with 8GB of RAM. And if you buy this phone in the US, you're gonna get Snapdragon 855 processor with 8GB of RAM. Hold on a sec. Coming back to that screen size, the S9 Plus has a 6.2-inch display. The S10 Plus has a 6.4-inch display, and you know what? The Samsung Note 9 also has a 6.4-inch display. So the screen size on the S10 Plus is now equal to the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. So the screen on the S10 Plus is actually a little bit bigger, 0.2 inches bigger. And speaking of bigger, the battery size on the S10 Plus has also seen a huge upgrade. So the battery on the S10 Plus is 4100 milliamps, so that's 600 milliamps more than the S9 Plus. So you're gonna get a really good battery backup on the S10 Plus, and that battery is actually bigger than the Note 9's battery, which is a 4000 milliamp hour unit. So really nice to see Samsung has bumped up the battery on the S10 Plus. Now this year Samsung has added a third camera, and you can see it here. We've got a new ultra wide camera which is 16 megapixel, your regular camera is 12 megapixel, and then we also have a telephoto camera. Then the front facing camera has also been upgraded to a 10 megapixel camera, and the secondary front facing camera is an 8 megapixel camera, but it's only a depth sensing camera. Then for the fingerprint sensor, we have an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor which is built into the screen, which is awesome. 128 gigabytes of memory. You also get this phone in 512 and 1 terabytes of memory. And yes, this phone also has a memory expansion slot. You can pop in a 512 gigabyte micro SD card and increase your storage space. And then we've got stereo speakers. And speaking of earphones, the earphones are supplied by AKG, and wait for it, this phone has a 3.5mm headphone jack. Man, you gotta give it to Samsung for not removing all these important features. Then we've got IP68 water and dust resistant. Then we've got wireless charging, and then this year Samsung has included a new feature called wireless power share, which I will show you guys later in my video. So let's go ahead and unbox this thing and check it out. Alright, we got the seal open. Let's unbox this and look at that. That is a big screen phone. Let's take this out. And this is the Prism Blue version, and that color looks absolutely gorgeous. And let me just compare it with the lilac purple S9 Plus, and look at this S10 Plus looks like it has more features common with the Note 9 than the S9 Plus, especially that camera arrangement. You can see the fingerprint sensor is now gone. The fingerprint sensor is located inside the screen now. Let's take a look at the bottom. Yeah, take a look at that. This phone has more in common with the Note 9 than the S9 Plus. So this is the S9 Plus. But yeah, nonetheless, such a beautiful, gorgeous looking phone, and it's not even that heavy. It's a fairly lightweight phone, but the thing is, it's quite big. So let's set the phone aside here and take a look at the box content. And my fingerprint is already on the phone. Damn it. So we've got a Samsung fast charging charger, and you can see that adaptive fast charging logo there. So next up we have USB Type-C to USB Type-A adapter, so you can plug in your USB drive, keyboards or mouse. Let's keep it here. Then we have the USB Type-C cable inside here. We have the headphones or earphones. These are AKG and these sound awesome. So I'm just gonna leave these inside the box. We'll check out what else we've got. So we've got an accessory packet here, and we've got the SIM card tray ejection pin here. Let's take it out, see what's inside here. Got quick start guide, warranty card, we've got regional lock guide. Set this aside, we'll take a look at that. And then the most awesome part, we have a phone case. I love it when manufacturers provide accessories like this. You don't really have to go out and buy an additional case for your phone. Then let's take a look at this regional lock guide. So the regional lock guide only says that you should use a SIM card which has been issued in India to activate the phone. and make over 5 minutes of calls, and you'll be able to use SIM cards from any other country. So that's like a protection mechanism if someone's exporting these phones overseas or anything. But yeah, look at that prism blue color. That is gorgeous. And I'm just gonna take this protector out so you guys can adore this in its full glory. Look at that. That needs to be wiped off or something. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. Look at that prism blue color in all its glory. And I took off that plastic protector thingy which was on there. But I gotta say though, this back is a fingerprint magnet. I mean, you put your finger on here and it's gonna leave a mark. You see that? Yeah, this thing is a fingerprint magnet, so better have a microfiber cloth handy. So first off, let's check out the back side of the phone. So this is the Samsung Galaxy S10. We've got two cameras, your regular camera and then a telephoto camera. Now this year, Samsung has added a third camera to their camera setup, and this is your 16 megapixel ultra wide camera. And by ultra wide, I mean really ultra wide. Let me just fire up the camera and I'll show you. So this is your ultra wide camera, and look at that field of view. That's nuts. I mean, let me fire up the camera on my S9 Plus. So this is your regular field of view and this is your ultra wide camera. I mean, look at that. That's just insane. That's a lot of difference. And this will definitely come in handy for some awesome shots. Now, even though the ultra wide angle camera does not have OIS, you don't really need it because you already get electronic image stabilization. So let's fire up the camera. Let's go to video and switch to the ultra wide angle camera. You see here, we have super steady shot, and this kind of crops the image, but it's like fairly good. So we can turn this off and then it will switch to your regular video stabilization, which is over here. So video stabilization is in fact available in the ultra wide angle camera, and I think that's pretty cool. Oh, and here's a fun fact. The ultra wide angle camera is a 16 megapixel camera and the main camera is a 12 megapixel camera. Also, the ultra wide angle camera does not feature OIS like I just said, but you get digital image stabilization, and also does not feature autofocus, and that makes sense. You're not going to use this camera to do macro shots, so autofocus is kind of irrelevant on an ultra wide angle camera. Now coming to the main camera, it's a 12 megapixel camera. It features Samsung's dual aperture, so the aperture of the camera can vary from f1.5 to f2.4, and that is used to allow more light into the camera, and this is automatic. You can also take control of it manually inside the camera settings and change it from there if you want. And then coming to the telephoto camera, this has also been carried over from the last year's Galaxy series smartphones. So this is also a 12 megapixel camera. It has autofocus and OIS. So these two cameras have autofocus and OIS. Meanwhile, the ultra wide angle camera is a completely fixed camera. So yeah, we've got an awesome powerful camera setup on the Galaxy S10. Okay, so let's do a little camera test. So this is with the regular camera, and by the way, I'm recording in 4K. So this is the regular camera. This is 2x zoomed in. And then finally, this is the ultra wide camera. And look at that field of view. That is just crazy. And I'm standing at the same location. I haven't moved. Once again, this is the regular camera. This is that 2x optical zoom, normal, and then ultra wide. So you can see a couple of scenarios where you want to use this ultra wide angle camera, and this is awesome. Then we have the LED flash and the heart rate monitor. You can use the heart rate monitor in the Samsung Health app. Alright, so now let's take a look at the physical features of the phone. Oops, so it kind of unlocked. So here on the right side of the phone, we have the power button. I kind of feel that the power button should have been a little bit low. Say for example somewhere over here, that would have been awesome. Anyways, did you guys notice this phone does not have a fingerprint reader on its back, and there's no fingerprint reader on its side? That's because the fingerprint reader has now been integrated into the AMOLED screen here. So it's underneath that. It's an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, and we're gonna check it out later on in this video itself. Alright, so moving on to the left side of the phone, we've got a volume rocker, and then we have the Bixby button, and this can be remapped. I'll show you that in my video. And moving on to the bottom, I should take this off. Oh yeah, much better. So we've got a speaker grill here, Then we've got USB Type-C, 3.5mm headphone jack, and yeah, thumbs up Samsung for keeping this headphone jack. In 2019, literally everyone is getting rid of the headphone jack, meanwhile Samsung has still retained this. So yeah, kudos to Samsung. This is one of the reasons why I picked up the Galaxy S10, not some other brand phone. Then we have a microphone over here. Let's move on to the top of the phone. We have a secondary microphone for noise cancellation, and this is where your SIM card and the SD card goes. Now finally, coming to the front part of the phone, we've got a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display. And yes, this is a 6.4-inch display that's 0.2 inches bigger than the screen of the Galaxy S9 Plus. So you do get a slight bump in the screen size, but take a look at this. The actual size of the phone is almost identical. So what Samsung has done is that they've trimmed down the bezels. You can probably tell that by looking at the top of the phone and the bottom of the phone. And I hope you guys can see that that's your earpiece speaker, and that also doubles up as a loudspeaker. So you've got stereo speakers on the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now one thing Samsung has removed from the S10 Plus compared to the S9 Plus is the iris scanner. So iris scanner is now gone. Maybe they've done that because the bezels had to be trimmed off. So there was no place left to put the iris scanner onto the S10 Plus. Oh, and before I forget, one more thing that is missing on the S10 Plus is the notifications LED. So I'm guessing Samsung did not have any space to put the notification LED on the top of the phone, so they have completely removed it. And because there is no notification LED on the S10 Plus, you'll always have to rely on the always on display to show you if there is any notification or not. So now the camera is actually integrated on the screen, so there's a cutout for the camera. And Samsung is calling this Infinity O display. And to be honest, this is much better than having a notch in the middle or even a water drop notch. And trust me, this is not that intrusive. Most of the time you'll be focused on this part of the screen. You'll totally ignore this camera cutout. Now talking about the camera cutout, let me just zoom in here. So you can see we've got two cameras. Now the front facing camera is a 10 megapixel camera, and the secondary camera is an 8 megapixel camera. Now the 8 megapixel secondary camera on the front is not accessible to the user. So this secondary camera is only a depth sensing camera. And by depth sensing, I mean so to get those background blur selfies. Now I want to tell you guys one more thing, that there's a pre-installed screen protector on this phone. So you kind of get that pretty obvious bump there on the screen, but that is actually not there. So if you take out that screen protector, it's completely flush with the screen. The Galaxy S10 Plus has a stereo speaker setup. The bottom speaker is over here, and this one plays the lows and the mids, and the top speaker is right over here. And this one plays back your high frequencies, and the speakers are actually quite loud. Let me give you a quick demo. And this is a song that I downloaded from YouTube audio library. And even at maximum volume, the sound does not distort. So here's a quick demo. Time to give you guys my first impressions about the Galaxy S10 Plus. So I have been using the phone for about 3 to 4 days, and I must say I'm quite impressed by that display. Samsung flagships have always had the best screens, but this year Samsung has gone a step further and outfitted the S10 Plus with the world's first HDR10 Plus dynamic AMOLED display. The colors are bright, vibrant. The display also feels brighter than the last year's S9 Plus. And let me tell you, watching videos on this display is one of a kind experience. Although you will kind of struggle to find HDR10 Plus content because it's just really rare to come by HDR10 Plus. If you compare the Galaxy S10 Plus with the S9 Plus side by side, you will clearly see that the bezels have been trimmed off, and that is why there was no space left for the camera. And this is another reason why we see a pill-shaped camera cutout on the display. By the way, Samsung calls this Infinity O display. And if you want, there's an option in the display settings that allow you to hide the camera cutout, and as a result, the phone will not use the top part of the display. And to be very honest, having a pill-shaped camera cutout isn't really a big deal. most of the times you will not even notice that the camera cutout is there, because most of the time, especially while watching videos or texting, you will be focused on the middle and the bottom part of the screen. So yeah, I'm quite okay with this pill-shaped camera cutout on the screen, and it's certainly less obnoxious than having a freaking notch on the display. The next new thing is the in-display ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. It's reliable, lightning fast. The best part is that it even works when your fingers are completely wet, so there should be no problem unlocking this phone if you have sweaty fingers or if you're using the phone while taking a dip in the pool. Speaking of water and pool, just like the S9 Plus, the S10 is also dust and water resistant. The battery has also seen a step up from 3500 mAh on the S9 Plus to 4100 mAh on the S10 Plus. Gotta love it when manufacturers don't cheap out on battery capacity. And you know what they say, the bigger the better. Now speaking of battery, in addition to fast wireless charging, we also have something called reverse wireless charging. Now reverse wireless charging sort of turns your phone into a wireless power bank, so that you can share some juice with other key wireless charging enabled devices, but it's kind of slow and it's best suited for small gadgets like smartwatches. And stay tuned for my battery backup test video. Now I've already talked about the cameras, but I gotta say the cameras are awesome. We have a telephoto camera, then the regular camera, both have been carried on from the S9 Plus, but the S10 adds a third camera, a super wide angle camera, and I really love it because it fits a lot of stuff in the frame and can also record in 4K. Now speaking of 4K videos, the front camera is now also capable of recording in 4K, and the front camera has now also been upgraded to 10 megapixels from 8 megapixels on the S9 Plus. I'll talk more about the camera in my full review. So I gotta agree with MKBHD that in 2019 this is really the most complete and the best phone money can buy. It does set the bar really high. It's got the best display in the industry, big battery, headphone jack, loud stereo speakers, triple camera setup, the latest version of Android with Samsung One UI, latest and the greatest processor, 128GB of storage with 8GB of RAM for the base model that goes all the way up to 1TB of storage with 12GB of RAM. That's more memory than most laptops out there. And yes, you can expand the memory through a micro SD card. With these sort of specs, you can't really go wrong. So from my side, it's a big thumbs up for the Galaxy S10 Plus. Alright guys, that's it for the unboxing and the first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below, and follow me on Instagram. I'm quite active here, and you get to see nice pictures of all of these phones. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section or DM me on Instagram, and all the links are down in the video description. So thank you for watching, stay tuned for more videos like these, and I will see you guys next time.